no money, that's an asshole. It wasn't a phase.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Senior Citizen Podcast, and I'm here with none other than Metal Mike.
No, fuck yeah. What's up?
How you doing? I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too shabby. Like, the drive wasn't too bad, so, you know, obviously, you know, coming from Delray, sure.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, no, thank you so much for coming out here. We are in Miami.
It's a normal drive. So.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, honestly, I invited you, first of all, because you're really dope. You support us. I really appreciate it. On top of it, you are so high energy, and we just need that.
And you know what? And I can't be one to take all the credit, but I will.
And it's funny because now thinking about it, you're in the same band as Graves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys are part of No Tomorrow, and it's polar opposites. Like, how do you guys get along?
It's a very good question. And I'm not saying I'm gonna have a good answer, but I'm gonna give you an answer anyway.
Okay.
So, how I met him, first of all, like we were actually in a band. Like, God, this is so cringe, but I'm gonna say it anyway. A band called Beautiful Madness back in the day.
Okay.
I can't even say that without spitting on the ground here, but you know, that's honestly how we met. We met through a drummer, a guy named Marco, actually, and we kind of hit it off and figured out that we were both metalcore junkies and whatnot, and had the same vibe and same feel for the most part. And you know, since then, the rest is history, honestly.
Okay, so it's like you guys complement each other.
Most definitely. Like, you know, he's a phenomenal bass player, and let alone a great musician, period. Because, you know, he's the sort of dude that like, I need someone like that. You know, he's the sort of person where basically, like, I can be in the studio doing take after take on the song, and he'll be like, that was awesome. That was perfect. Do it again. You know what I mean? He was
You're not quite there, but doesn't say it.
Yeah, like he's a very, very painfully honest person, but you know, like, I mean, obviously, if you're gonna do this, especially when it comes to being in a band and whatnot, you know, you got to have somebody like that, because you know, you never settle for less when you're doing something like this. So you know, it's only appropriate in that circumstance. So.
Right. Okay, so I love to hear that Beautiful Madness. And the biggest theme in the show really is the nostalgia of growing up with this music, growing up in the scene. So tell me a little bit about how you got started. You know, what was your cringy teen years like?
Oh, man. Well, if you want to go to the very beginning even, it really started with just discovering that I liked even like this type of music even. You know, like my brother was actually the first person to actually turn me on to Sabbath back in the day and whatnot. He introduced me to listening to what was it? It was the live version of Iron Man by Black Sabbath. So you know, like for me, that was actually one of the best introductions I could ask for, only because of the fact that, you know, I didn't even know it was a live recording, and when I listened to that back, I'm like, wow, I can actually say that not only do I like this music, but I especially loved the fact that it's. Oh God, I'm trying to find the word. Sorry, I'm a little tired.
No worries.
But I appreciate that. Basically, you know. That was sort of where the live bug sort of bit me for the most part.
Right,
you
just wanted to go to a show after that.
That was immediately where I was like, I want to do that.
Right.
You know, like I want to play shows. I want to write music. Like I want to do whatever these guys are doing. I want to do it.
Right.
And so, you know, that's really where it began. A little bit more into middle school. Like I was obviously having my phase, as everyone wants to call it.
It wasn't a phase.
Yes, definitely. But I sort of took an interesting path in terms of the bands that I was listening to. Like, for instance, like I definitely grew up on a lot of the Broward bands. Like I Set My Friends on Fire, Scary Kids, Scaring Kids. You know, Say Anything, if you remember that. If you remember those guys. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, I'm talking like stuff that like is probably faded into obscurity at this point. So you know, but like I mean, maybe. I mean, it depends on the day, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
Depends if you're at an emo night and they're playing all those throwbacks, yes. And then you're like.
Ironically, I was just there actually.
Really?
I was at emo night in Respectable Street in West Palm Beach, actually. So
Was that one with Matt Kelly?
Was it with him? I think so. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. All I knew is that the music was great. Honestly, like it was definitely like throwback city.
It was probably Matt because he does have that connection. He does have that knowledge with like all the good throwbacks that really get you, pumped for the party.
Oh my God, most definitely. And like when I heard "Say Anything," I was like, how did I know how do I still know that this was in my life?
Right.
Actually,
it's like muscle memory to remember the lyrics.
Like, dude. And of course you hear the voice, and you're just like, if I die and go to hell real soon. like as soon as you hear that, it's like, oh, that is so emo.
Yep. No, good stuff. So then, from the scene, what was the transition into actually being a musician?
So. Once upon a time, I was in high school, actually. Obviously being the miserable teenager that I was actually, because I was going to an Orthodox Jewish private school at the time.
Oh, wow.
So that was far from normal. Anyway, but whenever I had friends that were definitely into the same music that I was, again with respect to like scary kids and whatnot. But that was also even the moment where I actually discovered metal more seriously, actually. And at least I tried to go down the rabbit hole as far as finding heavier music was concerned, and whatnot, which is why obviously like I figured that's where the name metal might kind of comes from. Like, mind you, I didn't even come up with the name, actually. Like, everybody just randomly started calling me that at shows, actually, because everybody knew me as just the one metal guy at the metal show listening to metal, and just but I never really seriously played it until high school, actually, which is actually the moment I actually more seriously picked up guitar actually. So like, I used to go to a place called Ovation Music and Studio, which is no longer there, actually. And, like, it was a place in Boca, and that's actually where I met Nick of Tracheotomy back in the day. If you know about Tracheotomy at all, but like they're a local band from the scene, actually, which is great band, by the way. It's basically MySpace era deathcore.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
and they're seriously still around.
Oh yeah, and they do it so well. They're definitely one of the bigger bands on the climb, actually. Like,
right.
Definitely don't sleep on them. They already have an EP called Dissimulation out, which you should definitely go check out. So.
Okay, so we got the transition. Basically, in high school is when you got more serious. I have to share a story.
Go ahead.
Because you're Metal Mike. So
right.
Way back in the day, so my high school had a radio station. That was the coolest thing ever, and that was probably where I started taking my communications career a little bit more seriously, because I knew, like, I have no musicality, but I know I like to talk.
Fair enough. I have ADHD, so I can attest to the torment.
So basically, we all had nicknames at the station because we'd all be like different DJs or whatever, and I took ownership of the metal show.
Oh, really?
And in that instance, I was Metal Salad because my last name is Salad.
Oh, that's
Salis.
Cool.
And then we changed the last letter and whatever, so I was Metal Salad throughout my high school years. So, you got Metal Mike and Metal Salad on the mic.
That's very cool, actually. That's very, very cool. Like what a coincidence. Like, it's like the more you know, honestly.
Yeah. No, and then the people who watch this that know, I still love you guys.
Right.
And then how did you get started with No Tomorrow? So you met Graves and everything?
So, again, as I already alluded to with the whole Beautiful Madness type of deal, I had still stayed in touch with Graves, and he was telling me about this new project of his with Ken, who is now our current drummer. Actually, really solid dude. Actually, he just recently did a show with Further North, Further South. Actually, so he filled in for drums on them, and I can tell you, one of the best drummers I've probably ever seen, and let alone ever played with. Actually,
Good stuff.
He was telling me about a project which used to be called From Beneath, which I don't know why they came up with that. It was Ken's idea, so but we eventually didn't like the name and whatnot. And so the funny answer is that we just ran out of ideas for the name. We just but eventually No Tomorrow stuck, and I think it makes so much sense, because there really is a lot of artistry behind the name, let alone behind the band itself, actually. Mm-hmm. And the meaning behind it is interesting when you get down to it. But everybody said that phrase, live like there's no tomorrow. It's sort of like a programmed phrase in a lot of ways. Like it's sort of registered in your brain. You just kind of say it in the heat of the moment and whatnot. But how many of those people that you talk to who say that actually really practice that sort of thing?
I absolutely don't. I live on the safe side. Thank you very
exactly.
much.
And so, no tomorrow was basically us kind of pointing the finger back at those people who are using it as a ploy, or at least as an excuse to kind of disregard their own lives and literally to ignore the things that they know they have to deal with, because it's part of being a human at the end of the day, at least I would think. Because, I just care that people live very fulfilling lives, and I think No Tomorrow, the name itself, is kind of a testimony to that.
I really like the idea behind that. I didn't think it through,
Yeah, like face it, I tend to be on the philosopher of the band for the most part. So, I tend to philosophize about stuff like that. And, because I like things that are very conceptual in nature. And anyway, because, I feel like your music is only as good as the art that backs it. Honestly. I'm a strong believer in that. And especially if you can brand that really well, that's even better.
Right.
So.
I'm imagining like a T-shirt that says "Live like there's in a different font" and then the band logo. No tomorrow. It's a pretty good one.
It's easy for one to presume, but like our whole idea behind it was we wanted to create a name that was simple for you to remember, but it still made you dig into what we were about.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like Sleep Token.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're such a great band, by the way. Definitely one of the newer bands that I would highly recommend anybody listen to. But their whole deal is that they're anonymous. They're kind of pulling a Slipknot, but nobody literally knows who these guys are at all. All they know is that they're dropping this fantastic music, but because of that anonymity, it kind of feeds into the mystery of what they're about, and I love doing stuff like that for the most part.
Right? No, at the end of the day, it's cool. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. It's really cool to have
Absolutely.
meaning behind what you do, and it's not just because. And I know coming up with names and stuff, even when I was coming up with the name for this podcast, I was like, it needs to relate to people who went through it. I was the biggest scene.
Right,
it was embarrassing. Yeah. It was cringe.
Hey, face it, you did a good job on it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, and you mentioned you had ADHD. So do you think that's helped you or hurt you as a musician?
Both.
Okay.
Both, actually. I mean, I'm still working through it for the most part, but it's kind of an advantage because you constantly work yourself to death because of it. But obviously, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I still have my moments where I try to pump the brakes a little bit,
Right.
But like when it comes to the band and whatnot, like it's way more of an advantage. Like that's probably the reason why I was able to conceptualize the name and what we wanted to do as far as branding the band is concerned. And that's a big thing that most bands don't know how to do is establish a good brand. And because, as I said before, your music is only as good as the art that backs it. But branding is like the number one way to do that in a lot of ways. And so for all the younger bands, my best piece of advice I can give to anybody is just create a solid brand. Let people know what you're about, and then market that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, people want to see something interesting now. People want like a story or a narrative or something, or something that's going to be compelling about what you do. Because that's honestly the reason why any band will ever stand the test of time, as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
Right. No, I love it. It's you have a communications lesson within the podcast, because that's like the biggest piece in the formula of having anything that's going to be successful when you market it. It's what's different
Absolutely.
and what need are you fulfilling for that audience. So I love that you think like that. Your band is super dope. I know you guys have music coming up. What else?
We do.
What do you want to let us know about that?
So, I'm sure that Graves already brought it to our attention that that we are going to be dropping an EP, a 5-song EP on April 22nd, and hopefully shortly after that we are in very serious talks about our EP release show, actually. So we're very excited about that, and we're super excited about that. Hopefully during the rest of the summer, we're gonna be doing shows nonstop, literally.
Okay.
Like, because that's the perfect time to do it, honestly, because it's the only time you have the most time.
Right.
Again, and especially when you want to get your, again, it's either go big or go home, honestly.
That's the way it should be.
No, most definitely.
No, and I can tell you put a lot of heart into these things.
Most definitely.
It's probably everything that you do. What can you tell me about the EP? I want some sort of exclusive secret.
So obviously, like musically, it's really heavy. It's really heavy. Like, these are probably some of the best recordings we've probably ever done from the time we've ever been a band. Actually, if I'm going to be fair, especially when it comes to an EP, because you're trying to give people sort of like a snapshot of what you're about, and I think like this EP is definitely a testimony to that in a lot of ways, because we definitely cover a lot of serious topics and whatnot, especially because we try to make sure that it's of course very relatable for the most part, because I figure that's kind of like one of the centerpieces of what metalcore is about. Like, people want very relatable stuff, whether that means talking about suicide or depression or just very human things, basically. Like it definitely takes a very humanistic approach to a lot of it. So I think that the ultimate goal is really like, if we can help move someone through our music, through our words, or whatever it is we do, like through the art or whatever it is, that to me is the goal. That to me is the dream in a lot of ways, because we just want to try to make the world a better place for it by helping people confront the things that they don't want to confront. And I think that's lacking right now. And so I think the EP definitely puts a lot of focus on that.
Okay, so what I got from it is that I probably, if I want to be at your show, I should probably bring my knee and elbow pads. And if
I promise you, we won't hurt you.
And if I'm feeling too much in the morning, I can listen to it in the car and probably cry on the way to work.
One could argue. Obviously, it's got its heavy moments and whatnot. And to be fair, like I'm not gonna give too much away, but to say the least, like most, the majority of it is pretty heavy stuff to begin with, and. Musically, like as a guitar player, most of it is influenced by, or at least tipping my hat to a lot of the newer bands. Like, again, as I said, Wage War, Silent Planet, Dayseeker, North Lane, just those sort of modern metalcore bands and whatnot. Like,
I don't think I've heard North Lane in years, unless it's really new and I'm confusing it with something else. Jesus
no, really?
Christ. I should have brought like pen and paper to write down everything you're recommending to me.
So these are just names you've never heard of, right?
No, not for me.
Yeah, they are super, super good. I'll tell you right now, especially Silent Planet. Again, going back into the whole conceptual side of things and whatnot, they are probably one of the most conceptual bands I've probably ever seen. And it's like this is like they write their music like as if it was like a research paper from college. Actually,
oh wow!
Like they even put footnotes in that, and that inspired the lyrics actually. So they put the works for you to actually go out and actually read into how they came up with the line. Actually,
oh, I love that. So when you look it up on like the lyric pages, it's not like maybe it means this.
Right?
No, you know what it is.
You can go directly to the work and really interpret it as you will, and kind of get down to the root of like how they came up with it. And I personally, I love that. I love that they encourage that. If you didn't even like the music, you could still relate to the lyrics and even see the works that inspired those lines actually. And I think that's beautiful, because there's not many bands that know how to pull that off successfully.
Right. And okay, I want to ask you, since I know you've been to tons of shows, probably more than you can count, more than you can remember.
Yes.
What's been?
Face it, my car is giving up because of it. So.
Oh no.
No, it's okay. No,
this is the GoFundMe link to get Metal Mike a new car.
Yeah, please get me a Tesla. I'm kidding.
No. Okay, so I want to hear it from two experiences. Right. Your favorite show. Like from not just a local band, like a show you really want to go to.
Favorite show, period. Ugh.
And then your favorite show from local scene.
Okay, that's a tough one. That's seriously, because my brain is just right now.
You're sorting through the files. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm like, damn it! You had to make me anxiety riddled.
No!
Seriously, I'm just kidding. Probably Slipknot.
Okay.
And this was actually while I've been following them since I was probably in diapers, basically. I was actually, funny enough, born in when the the self-titled album actually came out. Like I was born '98, so that tells you how long I've been with those dudes, or at least been in love with them anyway. Definitely Slipknot. It was with Killswitch Engage, Fever 333, great underrated local band, and Code Orange. Actually, it's almost and Code Orange is interesting. They're almost like today's mainstream Dillinger Escape Plan. In a lot of ways. So it's like very, very chaotic, very in your face, and just absolutely one of the best experiences you could possibly have at a show, literally. And
what made it so great? What was that highlight moment? Like, what did you do?
Oh my God,
was it in the pit? What was it?
Within the first 2 songs of Slipknot taking the stage, they were playing. This is obviously when "We Are Not Your Kind" was still very, very fresh and in the air and whatnot. And also, Corey had just actually introduced his new mask actually for the live shows. If you know which one I'm talking about, the sort of smiling skeleton kind of mask, if you know what I'm talking about. But okay, I can show you later, obviously. But literally within the first 2 songs, they played "Unsainted" and "Disaster Piece." I swear to God, I would not be lying if I said 10 dudes in the mosh pit got their legs broken and had to be carted out of the pit.
Oh
no! But that's just the level of the show, and even I was worried for them too. Actually, I went over there. I was like, "Bro, you good? You good?" He's like, "Dude, it's a fucking Slipknot show." Like I'm like, it's worth it. I'm like, well, damn. Now that you put it like that, okay.
Well, that's what I like about it, though. Like, there's a genuine care at shows. Like, yo, you okay?
Absolutely.
Like, if you're falling, whatever. Like,
absolutely. And that's
like
one of the biggest misconceptions about the industry, about the metal scene is that people think we encourage violence, we encourage people to hurt each other and all those sorts of things. So when nothing could be further from the truth, we try to look out for each other just as much as possible. I've been to shows where basically someone was accidentally thrown in the pit, and a bunch of dudes, especially because they were namely females, actually who were thrown in the pit. Next thing you know, they just huddle around them to protect her. Actually, and that kind of courage and that kind of bravery, you are not going to see at a pop show, man. Not even remotely close.
Not at all.
That is why I love the metal scene so much. Is that it doesn't destroy lives. It actually saves them in a lot of ways.
Even metal and pop punk, I just went to the Wonder Years show, and I got pushed into the pit a couple times.
Oh my God.
Some dudes noticed that most of the time I was a shield. I was like, I don't want to go in, but I want to go in. But I don't want to. I was a shield.
Right.
Stance, whatever. And at some point, some guys were just coming in front of me like, no, we got you. Like, you're not going to get pushed in. But then Melrose Diner came on, and I was like, wha-bam.
Dude, face it. You, it's things like that you don't plan for, honestly.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of ways, I mean, like the shows are what you make of it. Like I said before, like you were talking about obviously local shows. Let me actually get to that. Even my favorite local show that I've been to specifically, probably this is going way back. By the way, actually, this was when O'Malley's wasn't gutted. Actually, this was when the caliber of the bands were actually a lot better. In fact, actually,
okay.
I went to see Ingested, and I saw them with Enterprise Earth, and I believe, actually no, take that back. It was Rings of Saturn, Lorna Shore. I think was there, and they're another touring local band for the most part, and Enterprise Earth was also there, and that had to be one of the gnarliest shows I'd ever been to. I'm talking, I still I got obviously I know we're on air here, but a small person actually, like in the midst of one of the pits. And like as I was slamming and having a good time and whatnot, the highlight of that was that I got slammed by the small person.
Oh man!
I was like, damn, okay, that's never happened, but okay,
right.
I got a highlight moment there.
Yeah,
but no, like those are like my favorite shows. Period, because you really get to come and get up and close and personal with the bands actually, and plus. if you're actually serious about the music, it's the perfect networking opportunity.
Yes.
And I mean, there's no wonder why I know so many people in the industry. Like if I'm that serious about it, I'm gonna go out of my way to meet these people because my career is almost dependent on it.
Right,
basically.
right. Yeah.
And like at least eventually when we get into the swing of touring and all that and all those sorts of things. So yeah, and definitely it was definitely Rings of Saturn with Lorna Shore and Enterprise and all that. So.
That's really cool. I actually fell out of the local scene a couple of years ago, so I'm working my way
really?
back in. Yeah, so I know a couple bands here and there, and I'm sorting through what I like, what I don't like, and whatnot. But there's a lot of talented musicians out there, and that's why I like asking these kinds of questions, just so I know, like, okay, if I see a flyer for this person, then I gotta show up. Like, no excuse, no,
Right.
We're all tired after our 9 to 5, but
yes.
we'll be there.
Face it, my family's already getting sick of it, so I can relate.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. It is what
it's like that
hey,
sometimes.
face it, it's the sacrifices you make, people.
Right.
So.
And to wrap up the interview, I'm bringing something out of left field completely, but we have to keep the show alive. We have to keep it entertaining. Would you consider yourself a relationship expert?
Okay.
Yes, no?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. I mean, I can say, for some, like I truly do care about those sorts of things. Like, mind you, I've been in a long distance relationship for almost 5 years, actually.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to my girlfriend, by the way.
Shout out, girlfriend.
Yeah, woo!
Long distance isn't easy,
Paula,
so.
if you're watching this, I love you.
What do you mean if you're watching this?
I figured she's gonna watch it. Well, I'll send it to her later.
There you go.
But obviously, like whether she chooses to watch it is a different story. But I try to convince her since my ADHD just works like that. So I had to be like, watch it, keep watching. Goodness, you know what I mean? But. No, having been in a long distance relationship for 5 years, like I guess I've learned a lot along the way, but at the same time, it's still there's no rule book to it.
Yeah,
as I always like to think, But my best piece of advice for anyone who is
no, we're gonna give advice to some poor Reddit user that needs relationship advice. So,
oh my god,
This is a 27-year-old female boyfriend. The boyfriend is 25, told me he resents being in a relationship with me. My boyfriend and I have been dating for the last 4 years now. Everything was going great until he lost his job in the beginning of the year. He completely shut me out and stonewalled me. I understood his behavior and I've been trying to be there for him the best I can. And I've been doing everything to hold us down financially. He doesn't have any source of income. I have been asking him how he would like for me to be there for him because I'm not sure what to do. He said that I'm pestering him if I keep asking these questions. And the thing is, when he's with me, he's low and doesn't want to talk about anything. But when he's out with his friends, he's a totally different person, happy and jolly. So today, I opened up to him about it. I told him that... Are you laughing, Dan?
Well, sure he does. I mean, he just wants to hear what I'm gonna say. Okay. Who knows? But go on.
So today I opened up to him about it. I told him that I felt lonely because of how he was behaving. I first of all assured him that I understood what was going on with him, but it makes me feel funny that he is low when he is with me and happy when he is with other people. It is also noteworthy that he has become extra friendly with his female friends. I told him that it makes me uncomfortable when he does that. The whole conversation blew up from there. He told me that I was only thinking about the relationship and not him, and he said that he feels pressured being in this relationship because I asked him how he would like me to help. He said that he resents being in this relationship with me. I began crying, and I told him that I did not want to lose him. He told me that I lost him a long time ago. I haven't done anything to this man to deserve that kind of talk. I have only tried to be there for him. Right. My heart has been in the right place with him. What am I doing wrong, and what should I do?
That is
Metals
loaded.
Mike's expert advice.
That is a lot to take in.
It was a long post, and I summarized it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But, God damn, that is such a loaded question. Wow. Honestly, it's tragic. First and foremost, to the person who made the Reddit post. I'm very sorry. Sorry that things kind of fell out the way that they did and whatnot. No one should ever have to go through that. Honestly, but my best piece of advice. I know it's going to sound super cliche, but it all boils down to self-honesty. I mean, that's probably the reason why my long distance relationship has probably worked out the way that it has is because I learned to be honest with myself first. I tried to take the focus off, like, what can I do to benefit the relationship, but and more switch the lens to, like, what can I do to be more honest with myself first, and that can make me be more honest with my respective partner here. And like, should that, and like, obviously if you end up finding someone else, and which I hope someone better does inevitably come along, seriously. But I've said, again, it's really about what do you personally want to get out of it?
Right.
That's what the question on the floor should be. Yeah. What do you want out of this? And I always bring it up to my girlfriend too. I'm like, do you still know why you're with me? And she's like, oh, well, like, I mean, I figured for emotional support here. I'm like, well, it's got to be more than that. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that's a cog in it, but it's not everything. You know what I mean? Like, you just need, and like, relationships should be built on safety, security, empathy, loving, just basically just being comfortable in each other's skin. Right. Or at least be comfortable in your own first so you can be comfortable in theirs.
Exactly. So. I love that piece of mature advice. I'm going to sound like every other Redditor and say dump his ass. I see a groove. Right.
There you go.
It's been 6 months, homie.
Put a ring on it.
Oh, there you go. Absolutely.
No. Someone who's been in a relationship for 8 years now, that ain't it.
Nah.
But yeah, no, anything. This is your shameless plug moment. Sure. Plug in whatever you want to.
Well,
promote.
so if you're interested in following me, you can find me on Instagram at Metal Mike Official. My band can also be found in my bio. But in case you're just hearing me,
we'll
for the
tag
first time,
all of them though.
It is going to be at no tomorrow, one word _ SOFL, South Florida. There you go. And yeah, I just try to post very relatable content and whatnot, and I just try to be a very open and honest person. And like, if you ever want to talk to me about anything, seriously, I'm a super approachable person. Not many people know that about me. And like, I just love talking to people. Period. Since I'm a humanist, I just love people.
And I could tell from the moment I saw you at that show and you ran up and you said, I'm Metal Mike, and I love that. And I love how nice you are, how supportive you are. And hopefully we can get the whole No Tomorrow back here on the show with
We can only hope for the best,
We can hope for the best. We can coordinate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it for this episode of the Senior Citizen Podcast. We'll catch you next time, Metal Mike.
Woo!